Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm more than glad to be part of this webinar celebrating the Italian Design Day 2021. Today, under the title The Italian Design Texas Success Story, we will discover how interesting is Texas for some Italian companies who approached this market a couple of years ago. As you know, contemporary design is one of the strongholds of Made in Italy, and nowadays is celebrated also through relevant art exhibitions, such as the one organized by the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston last year on radical Italian design. The commitment of the Italian institutions is therefore to continue to promote this sector worldwide, also through initiatives such as the Italian Design Day. I don't want to take much time to this important event, and therefore I wish to all the participants to enjoy the discussion. Thank you.
Guys, we're so excited to be presenting this webinar, Stories of Success in Italian Design. You know, I mostly work on the food and wine side of the Italy America Chamber efforts, and we have to really work. We have a lot of, it's so hard to knock on doors, get people to try foods, wines. When it comes to the design work the Chamber does, it's like a piece of cake, right? Because who's not interested in Italian design? Italian design in the arc of my lifetime, and I think of some of the people on our call, has come to reshape, you know, there's nothing without Italian design in America today. I don't know if you guys agree with me. And that is my segue into, Adrian, I want to ask you to be our first speaker. You and Marcelo are kind of the people who, we're all here today because of you. Everybody whose products are represented in this webinar are sold, I believe, through your retail operation, if I'm not mistaken. So if you could unmute yourself, please tell us a little bit about B Design, where you guys are, what you guys do, and tell us how, you know, what's sexy and exciting about Italian design, especially right now that the world's reopening, New York's reopening, we're all getting out, we're seeing new spaces. Tell us what's going on.
So, well, we're very lucky to represent some of these amazing and talented people, but I would say it's, I'm obsessed with those doors and the new collection, and Julie with the lights, it's extremely nice. What we do is we have a furniture showroom based in, everybody thinks it's based in Houston, but we started in Ecuador, and Marcelo went to the University of Salamanca
To do my interior design master there. So that's why the connection with Europe at the beginning, and now with mainly Italy, representing these furniture brands.
And we also opened an interior design studio in Madrid that does some hotels. We don't do any design or architectural in the States, which focus on the furniture. And Jeremy, talking about food and wine and beverages, we are above the Last John George restaurant. The public kitchen here is the Last John George, the chef who did the restaurant, which is the same concept of it. And everything is done by the amazing Molteni brands. So we represent more than 20 brands, exclusively for some for Houston, some from the States, and some from Texas. And we also have big projects. We are proud to say that we're the furniture providers for Viking cruises, for example. We have done a couple of Ritz-Carlton's, Four Seasons. The Public Hotel is one of our great party hubs. We're happy celebrating that we're back after a year. So what we do is we are a showroom of the amazing Italian furniture, amazing Italian people like Julie, who has learned all this technique to represent it here in the States. And I think we do a great job because we're passionate about it. It's not only about what it sells the most, it's what we love.
Exactly. It's very important to do what you love to do.
I'm so glad that you guys mentioned your Ecuadorian roots, because it really gives a sense of how international Italian design, you know, you talked about your roots in Ecuador, your connection to your studies in Europe, and how this all comes together around Italian design. Giovanni, can you're one of the kind of unique people on this call. in as much as you're you're a sales manager for all of the United States. You're business development and sales, national sales. So you look at a lot of territory. You represent, of course, Barrause, which is like the benchmark for doors in high design. Can you tell us a little bit in our 3-minute time frame, the history? What is Barrause? What do you do? But most importantly, what's really exciting about Italian design right now in the United States?
So Barrause is an Italian manufacturing company. It's a company that was established in 1967. We are a family-based company based in Vicenza, close to Venice. As you said, I am in Miami, and we have a branch operation here in the United States, where we serve the entire market from west to east, from south to north. We right now are working closely with different dealers. In Houston, we are working with Adrian and Marcelo, and we are really glad to work with them. We do everything related to the interior doors. Our product is a product that is the last piece, let's say, of the fixed furniture chain that started years ago with the kitchens in importing kitchen in the United States. And let's say that the interior doors market is the last piece of the chain. So the efforts to teach architects, interior designer, builders, developers to work with our product is a lot, and that is one of the first things that is more important. But is the challenge is to introduce a product that makes something different in terms of design, give a plus to what is interior design here in the United States on the interior doors side. We produce everything from modern doors, frameless, wood, glass, aluminum. So we are, let's say, what you can call a one-stop shop related to the interior doors. And we are an industrial company. So we produce not only for the retail market with a catalog that is huge and is various and can give a lot of solution to architects and interior designer, but also we work a lot on the contract market. So high-rise hospitality project, what is large scale, what involve large scale production. So we are this type of company trying to be.
No, you're great.
Summarize a lot what we do. There is a lot of
and
things.
And listen, everybody knows Barrause. Yeah, I don't even work in design, and I know what Barrause is because it's such an iconic. I mean, I can't say how many homes I've been into, and people talk about their design, and one of the pièces de résistance, right, is always the door. Tell us a little, Giovanni, a little bit about what are some of the new trends you're seeing? I mean, people are spending money again. People were spending money during the pandemic. Were they? People. What are some of the trends that are happening from your standpoint? Are people? I believe people are excited about design right now. People are buying homes. They're redesigning homes. They're flipping home. What are you seeing? The real estate market is hot. Is that affecting you guys?
The real estate market is really hot, and United States, luckily for us, during the pandemic, never stopped. Then our type of work is involved in medium and long-term projects. So this pandemic really focused the people to work on the interior design of their houses and purchase new estates. So we've been really lucky, and the trends right now is they are shifting of what is ultra modern, frameless, minimal. What is right now the trend for the interior doors market? Glass products a lot, and all things that we are proposing to our clients. So for us it was a really good year, and it will be a really good year as well.
I hope so. I love what you just said. And we'll touch upon that again. You know, one of the interesting things about the pandemic was there was this look inward, right? And people all of a sudden got interested, who weren't even interested in design, got interested in interior design, and they wanted to make their space. We all refashioned our self-image in space, right? And I think that's very much related to what you guys do. So Giovanni, another one of our guests today, one of our webinar panelists is Letizia Scaliti, who is representing Cavity Interiors. She's the international sales development. She's based in Umbria. She's in Umbria today. And Letizia, as per our protocol, if you could just spend about 3 minutes telling us a little bit about what your company does, and then tell us what kind of trends, again, going back to what we touched on with Giovanni, what are the trends you're seeing, and are we seeing a boom in business in the post-pandemic era? And then I promise, guys, we're going to get to the super exciting video from Federico Ciattaglia, and I apologize for my technical snafu here. Letizia, the floor to you.
Yeah, so I represent Chiavari, which is, let's say, millwork, and we produce custom interiors. We were founded in 1969, and we grew up with Knoll International because we were their supplier for custom furniture. So we are active in all the design sectors, mainly residential, retail, and hospitality projects. And as you were saying, what we noticed after the pandemic is a peak in interest in residential projects mostly. So we have a lot of residential projects, interesting residential projects going on right now. But mostly, I think it's for what you said. So a lot of people spend a lot of time in their homes. They grow their interest in design, and they wanted to improve their homes. So this is what we are seeing. A lot of requests for new furniture, or not only for big projects, but also smaller projects. So maybe it could be just a piece, a single piece, or just to renew their whole home, or maybe new acquisitions. So new projects built from the ground up. But also we've seen a lot of shops opening up, which is quite interesting. And what we've seen is the United States, for us, they are getting to their point right now. But the first market that we've seen this phenomenon is Asia. So what happened in Asia? So a lot of interest in retail projects and residential projects is happening right now in the US, we've seen. So yeah, it's always amazing to see how the market reacts after an event such as the pandemic. And listen, for us,
Letizia, tell us a little bit, and I think you're confirming, and we're seeing, you guys are seeing the same thing, that there's this new renewed interest in design. There's different ways that people are approaching design for the first time. Tell us a little bit about, Letizia, your company, Cavity. How does it how I want you guys to come design something for me. Yeah. How do I do that? Do I call Adrian? Who do I call? Do I call you directly and then you work through a company like Adrian? Tell us a little bit about that.
So it depends on what the client wants. So we can do work directly with the client or through someone. Mostly we work with architects and interior designer, or we can work also with showrooms, because maybe they want a piece and they see a piece in the showroom and they want something that complements it, and we can work with the showrooms as well. So we like to think that we bring to life what the clients want, because we only do custom interiors. We do not have our own line, so we build what the furniture piece. It can be a staircase, for example, it can be anything. And so we see the vision of the architect, the designer, and the client, and we bring it to life. And we give also a lot of technical advice, because sometimes the client knows what he or she wants, but they don't know how to make it. And this is where we came in with our experience. So yeah, we also like to mix a lot of materials. So we, as I told you, we were born as a millwork, but right now we work with wood, obviously, but also metals, glass, all kind of materials.
Awesome, awesome. It's so, one of the things I love about our panel today is like we have such a wonderful balance. We have Giovanni, who's based in America. You're based in Italy. We've got Julie, who we're going to talk to in a sec. We've got Adrian and Marcelo, who are like all over the place. Federico, right? Ciattaglia. And Letizia, thank you again. Let's shift over to Julie. Julie, I was giving her a hard time. She's the oddball. She's the odd duck in our group today, but that's what makes this group so.
I love being that. It's exciting. So out of the box.
And listen, I say that also with Julie and I share such a, first of all, we both share Venetophilia. We are lovers of the Veneto, but Julie's such an interest, and like her, I made my way into Veneto academia. She made her way into Glassworks, which is such an incredible, like I was saying on our pre-call, we probably have 3 movies in Julie's life story, and how she got there, how she became a Murano glass worker. Now she makes custom glassworks. Julie, tell us a little bit the story of the history of your company, what you do, where you do it, and how you fit into this bigger picture with design.
Grazie mille. Buongiorno a tutti. I love this. I love Italy. I'm so blessed I am able to go there and have Italian friends and inspiration. But I started glass making out of, I wasn't even really sure. I studied art in France at the University of Avignon. I had gone over to Italy a few times, love the design, and something that was inspired to me about being in Europe was the handmadeness of things around a space, whether something was like hand laid stones in the street or the old buildings or a lintel in a fireplace or something always gave you good feedback in a room. And coming back to the United States is the new country, everything's kind of, the 90s were all big box stores. We're still building horrible square condos, just kind of lifeless space and commercial production, furnishings, and kind of soulless areas. And so I wasn't really sure how that was going to turn into my artwork. But when I started making glass, I was immediately invited to Italy, and a surprise to me to work at the Abate Zanetti school as sort of a translator for some of the maestri to work with the students who were coming to do the glassmaking. And that was my intro. And it became relationships that I kept coming back on and off over years, 15, 18 years now, going back and forth and learning from the glassmakers that have 15 generations behind them of glassmaking. And I couldn't even imagine that, being from America, being from the United States. So we have this little bit of tension and contrast of their history of being 15 generations, tradition, your grandfather's grandfather's grandfather did this, so you do. And I come in, and United States, we can kind of say, I want to do this. This is my life. I would like to try this out. And we get this sort of like, start your own business, entrepreneurial idealism. And so I've kind of merged the two. But being a woman in the Italian glassmaking lineage and the family feuds that are hundreds of years old, that's been a real challenge. And it's also pretty spectacular. Out of 1,000 years of Murano glass history, there's probably about 30 women in the hot shops. So one of those. And over the years, I've made such good friends, and my teachers who taught me those ancient techniques. Some of the techniques would be like oh, my great grandfather started Federico cane in 1460, you know, and here we are making it. And so I would take a spin of their traditional maybe technique and make it a little more modern or my style. And then the grand arguments would definitely start from there. But sort of merging what I learned from their aesthetic, the Italian design aesthetic has been going on for centuries, if not thousands of years, right? You know, back to Roman times and inventions and look and style and fashion and homes and everything, cars, and even coffee machines look fabulous, I think. So distilling that down, making glass, forging my own line, and kind of bringing that back out into the world, and partnering with a beautiful showroom like Adrian and Marcelo at B Design. Their aesthetic is so gorgeous. And now they're just taking on my work and representing it in the showroom. And we've just started our brand new relationship. I'm so excited.
And I just want to, Julie, it's there's so much layers and to unpack there, but I just have to jump in. You said there's only 30 foreigners that have managed to become part of the Murano community?
Well, I would say maybe 50 to 60, but I think 25, 30 women.
So just a handful of what, you know,
yeah.
It's a really important.
It's a very closed system. Yeah.
I wanted to, I mean, you are someone who has cracked that arcane code, and it's such
a little bit. I had some, I stood on some shoulders, and in fact, we just lost probably the man that made the gateway, Benjamin Moore. He worked in the Vanini studios in the 60s as an American. And he helped Dale Chihuly open Pilchuck and taught the glass classes there. And he was really facilitative in bringing Lino Tagliapietra over from Murano to Pilchuck. But Benny Moore just passed away this weekend.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry.
But I do stand on the shoulders of greater, you know, guys that forged that path, but it did make it open for me to be there. And I love it. I love Venice. It's magical. It's absolutely like going to another world.
I think that one of the things, and I'm dying to like get on a call with you off public.
Do Bianchi.
You know, talking about once you enter into Venice, you realize it's this living, breathing community of families, of people, and it's one of the most interesting social cultural experiments in all of history. So wonderful. Guys, I wanna, and it's great to have you on this call, Julie. I do wanna, someone did ask in the chat, Adrian, can you just repeat the name of Adrian and Marcelo's showroom is B Design. Someone asked that. And guys, we don't have a ton of time, but who has a question? If anybody has a question or I have a couple of questions, but does anybody have any questions? I'm looking at the chat right now. Does anybody want to, if you have a question, I've got my chat open. I want to go back to Adrian and say, can you and Marcelo, can you guys comment a little bit about like, what are, you know, you're at the front line of this. People are walking into your showroom and saying, okay, hey, I'm redesigning how, what trends are you guys seeing, and what can you know?
Well, actually, everything has changed a bit. Everybody was eager to travel, go away. Now everybody is still, you know, a bit concerned, as Giovanni said. You know, the States is way more advanced than Europe in terms of having people visiting. So we are emphasizing a lot in the indoors. We have sold more sofas than ever in our history, which is amazing. Everybody decided that TV units are not, you know, you're staying in your house and working from your house, and you realize that the sofa that you thought it was super comfy is not as comfy as you think. And it's funny the way that it has changed. It has still changed. In the States, I think people are eager to go, but it's short trips. There's nothing, you know. And also the outdoors is a trend that has increased a lot. A lot of people has built pools wherever they never thought they were going to build a pool. A lot of people is having, you know, outdoor furniture they just what they call a staycation. That's what is happening, and it's great for our industry. And as Leticia was saying, don't contact her, contact B Design to whatever project you have. No, we are lucky to represent exclusively all the brands, and the good things about people like Leticia or even Julie, Giovanni, when it's something that goes out of our scope, it has to be in partnership with these big companies, because we cannot handle that alone, and we work together. We the price change, the dynamic change, everything changes.
Really, really interesting. And Adrian, I am going to just ask you to mute yourselves because there's a lot of background noise where you guys are at.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's because we wanted to broadcast from where we are. I don't know if I show you where we are, but I'm going to really quick do this because it's and look at this. It's amazing. And we have one of the best designers in Houston there. Nina, say hi.
I love it.
And Nina Megan is here with us, and he has been seeing the broadcast. So that's why the background noise. I apologize, but I wanted you to share.
And you're at the Public Soho. You're at the Public Hotel.
I'm at the Public in Soho. Everything was done by Molteni, our brand from Italy.
And I'm also excited to check out the new Jean-Georges restaurant there. I mean, it's all happening. I'm so envious of you guys.
It's right downstairs.
And you're celebrating your birthday today. Is that correct?
I am celebrating on Saturday. In fact, it's the opening of the Zanotta house. It's a house from 1900 with a carriage. It was owned by Taylor Swift. Actually, she was living there. And then the Zanotta took over. So we're having the sneak peek this Saturday for my birthday party. So it's going to be a lot of
awesome.
excitement.
I'm a fellow Cancer. My birthday's in a couple of days too.
Nice.
Hey, and guys, only because we try to keep these webinars to about 30 minutes. Look, we will be publishing a YouTube of this webinar, an edited YouTube, if anybody missed anything or wanted to go back anything. But I just want to go back around to each one of the panelists really quickly. We have a question from the floor from Wells Mason. Thank you so much, Wells, for sharing this. Could each of you guys, and we'll start in the order of our Hollywood squares. We'll start with Giovanni Cabrini. Can you share the name of one Italian designer from any design field that influenced you? And I love this. And guys, by the way, you're so much more fun to do these events than the food people. I love, I'm shifting from food and wine to design because you guys are way more fun. And, but Giovanni, what's an Italian designer, historic or otherwise, that's kind of like in your mind right now, that's is contributing to the conversation?
Inspire me or inspire the factory, the business?
Whatever you.
Me personally, or
whatever you like. Whatever you like.
But there are as Italian, the design is on us every day. Everything that we do, from the coffee when we use the mocha to everything we do. Design is in Italian blood in everything. I personally have relationship with a lot of designers in Italy that are friends, like for example Aldo Civic, that not a lot of people knows, but is one of the founder of different currents in design. He's teaching the Shanghai University right now, and the design is as I said, is in the Italian blood. So with the company, we collaborate with different designers, Massimo Bellunato, architect Yosaghini. We are working with designers and architects every day. And so there are different people and person that inspire us, the company, and Italian in general.
I love it that I think you mentioned his name is Aldo Civic. Is that, did I, and by the way, guys, you can always email Francesca or Alessandra or whomever you were in contact with at the chamber. If you have questions about what we talked about, we will follow up. That's what we are paid to do. That's what we're here for. And I love Giovanni, what you said. There's so many designers that aren't even on our radar today, but that are kind of driving the new conversation. I love that. And I'm going to look at Aldo Civic. Letizia, you know, it could be personal, it could be, you know, what I'm most interested in, like, who are the designers you're looking at right now?
Okay, so actually I'm going to take an escape route to this, because so we do not have our own personal style, working with different designers and architects. So we produce what they see and what they envision. But as a representative of Italian craftsmanship, I like to go with the Italian artisans. And I think Julie can agree with me on this. But it's not, obviously, when you have a big name, something that people like we recognize instantly, it's an easier route, let's say. But when you go to the little bottegas and you see craftsmen at work, I think that that is design at its best, because it's tradition, it's beauty, and it's functionality also. And for me, I think that is what inspires me and my company also, because we like to say that we bring together tradition, craftsmanship, and innovation. So this is what design is for me and for my company.
Giovanni, as much as I loved your answer, Letizia's is better.
Sorry.
No, what you said is so important about crafts. I'm going to say craftspersonship. And it goes back to the Renaissance. It goes back to Brunelleschi being beaten by Ghiberti in the production of the doors of the Baptistry of Florence. The beginning of, right? It all goes back to the craftsperson. Right. And wow, that was like a goosebumps answer for me. That took me back to art history. That took me back. It's so true. And when you go to the ateliers where you see people working, you realize that there may be this designer with these brilliant ideas and blah, 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 but it's always the craftspeople who are ultimately making and they, of course, their influence is greater than we could ever imagine. And wow, that segues right into Julie. You are you're where all those things come together: craftspersonship, and a design, and of course entrepreneurism. So what's a designer that, like, who should we be looking out for that we're not paying attention to?
Well, this is a funny question, because I always look to history, and immediately I was into Brancusi and Bernini, you know, some of my most amazing artists and fabricators of sculpture and different things that I always kind of go to the base that last timeless, right? You know what I mean? Things that go on and inspire for such a long time. And one of the Italian masters that currently is still working, he's 91, is Livio Seguso, out of the Seguso family in Murano. And their family has been making glass since, I think, 1390, something around there. But I got to hang out with Livio my last trip for a couple of days, and he's still innovating. And that's something true, like the longevity of reinventing yourself, absorbing what's going on. But I want to make stuff that's not really super trendy. Like, I want it for 5 minutes. I want people to enjoy it for a really long time, and maybe almost make an heirloom or some type of thing that they want to be around for a long time. So I kind of look to those kinds of longevity in design.
I love that. I love your bigger. So every time you open your mouth, Julie, there's just like, I have 20 more questions.
Stop it.
And I love the bigger picture that you kind of draw from. And it's a really neat perspective. And Adrian and Marcella, I got to get back to you guys. We only have a couple of minutes to stay under our time limit, but who are some designers that, you know, what inspires you guys? Who are some designers that is, maybe this is one for more Marcelo?
Yes, the old ones, I could say Gio Ponti for me is an icon in design. And nowadays, based in the brands we represent, I have to say Paola Lenti for me is absolutely different, stunning, the new trend. Paola Lenti for me is wow.
Yeah, I am very contemporary. And I have, obviously, the beginnings are great, but my admiration for Antonio Citerio it's like no other. Everything he has designed in terms of the furniture and the different brands that we represent, it's a stunning. And in lighting, with all the respect, Julie, but you have to agree with me, Davide Groffi, it's one of a kind, and it's so exquisite the way that he has interpreted light with no seeing light, which is very weird to explain unless you see it. So we're very proud of, we're very lucky to be in the industry we are, because we are surrounded by beauty every day.
Awesome. Guys, what a, I just wish we were like sitting down to lunch, and I'll bring the Nebbiolo, and we were just continuing this conversation all day. Guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. You're part of what makes the Chambers work so special. Like I said, I'm quitting food and wine and I'm shifting to design. I want to work with you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank everybody who attended today for making this such a special event. We had a great group of people today. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks to you, Wells Mason, for the wonderful, that was such a great idea for a closing. Thank you, Francesca and Alessandra, for all your support and making this possible. And we have to have a huge thanks to Federico Ciattaglia, the consul here in Houston, or I'm not in Houston today, but back in Houston where I live, who's such a wonderful supporter, who makes so many events like this possible. Stay tuned, guys. We have lots more stuff. And, you know, my big news is I'm shifting from food and wine to design. I'm done with food and wine. Design is in. You guys, what a fun day. Happy birthday, Adrian. Enjoy every minute.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday, Adrian. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you, Letizia. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Everybody,
Bye.
everyone be well. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.